Terrence Pearson, aka THF2 Pistols, TP for short, is one of the original members of the Trigger Happy family.
Like, on Cottage Grove, it was some two project buildings that was right there. Like, that's why I was born at, you know what I'm saying? So I ain't come from nowhere else than come on 47th Street. Like, I was always right there. That's how that first shit started with me. As a shorty here,
In the beginning, they were doing regular bad things, like skipping school, smoking, fighting, and shooting paintball guns.
Doing regular bad, throwing rocks and hitting with paintball guns like that. As a kid, just fighting, you know how that go. Going to school, smoking weed, regular little kids.
However, it wouldn't be long until they traded their paintballs for real bullets. According to TP, he started rapping in 2009.
I started rapping like maybe 09 or something, like just with it.
In the mid-2010s, as Chicago's drill wave begun to reach its peak, he stamped his name in drill history when he released Bus Stop, a scathing diss track that referenced two of the most infamous murders in Chicago drill history that took place at bus stops. This would be referring to 051 Young Money's Lil Mark and Shondell Gregory, aka Tuka, one of the most famously disrespected names in Chicago history. While the Bus Stop track would cement TP in Chicago drill history, his life in the streets would catch up with him, and prison heavily slowed down his career.
Like, I've been doing this before, I've been doing this for a minute. It's just jail kind of like twisted my ride up a little bit. See what I'm saying?
Jail twisted you?
Yeah, for sure. But
by late 2023, he was consistently dropping new songs and letting fans know he was about to begin his next chapter. Then in February 2024, a short video called Making History that, given upcoming events, sounded almost like a memorial to his life and an eerie prediction of what was about to happen.
punching in, now I can really overlap and say what I really want to say instead of running out of breath or...
With people in the comments stating that the eerie music in the background had them feeling like THF-TP knew his death was coming. On February the 7th, 2024, Terrence Pearson, aka THF-TP, had taken his daughter to the TNT restaurant to interview its owner for her black-owned business school project, about 20 minutes away from his block on 46th. As TP, his daughter, his girlfriend, and another young relative exited the restaurant on 5405 West Madison Avenue around 6:40 p.m., surveillance video captured the moments leading up to his death. A white Nissan pulled up alongside them, and two gunmen jumped out and fired at TP at least 25 times, hitting him multiple times right in front of his daughter. The assailants got back into the Nissan, made a U-turn, and sped off down Madison, leaving TP collapsed in the street with his daughter's blood-stained school project beside him. He was later pronounced dead at the Loyola University Medical Center. This was a huge loss for the gang, considered by some to be a drill pioneer for THF. Soon after, the news of THF-TP's passing reached the people close to him, and members from THF would post their heartfelt messages in honor of their friend. Amongst the mournful included others that vowed to get revenge. THF Bezu posted a photo of him and THF-TP, captioned that he should be pushing peace, but the streets wouldn't let him. THF Lil Law captioned his photo of THF-TP with the promise that so many of their ops were about to be on their way to meet him in the afterlife. Meanwhile, as detectives were trying and failing to piece together the tragic Westside murder and to find who was responsible, rumors online would immediately point fingers towards the longtime THF enemies 051 Young Money. Because just as posts paying respects to TP started appearing on social media, several 051 Young Money members got online to shout out one of their fallen members, 051 Lil Law, who, as previously discussed, had been suspiciously gunned down in 2022 while walking with a girl in the late evening through THF 46's hood. 051 Driller would chime in, seemingly warning all of THF from crashing out as a result of TP's exceptionally brutal murder. But perhaps most revealing was 051 Kiddo's Instagram story post, a photo of Lil Mark, the same 051 member, mocked in TP's hit song Bus Stop. Strangely, Kiddo would happen to get arrested on a gun charge soon after TP was killed, with many on Reddit suspecting that he had actually been picked up for the murder of TP. Kiddo was eventually released and never charged officially with any murder, and one of his first stops after his release was No Jumper, where Remo would ask him how he felt about TP being killed in front of his daughter, to which he would give Remo a blank stare and say, "I don't know," while also denying he'd ever seen the video, his silence perhaps speaking louder than words.
Might have that kid or baby mama with them, might give them a pass, or how often is it where like don't even care about shit like that in Chicago anymore?
Oh no. Oh no, see.
Yeah.
Because that video that he's talking about is, you know, it's pretty horrendous. It's tough to watch.
Yeah, I ain't never seen the video.
I feel like anybody who's seen it probably made a pretty big impact on them because it's hard to watch.
Gee.
Ironically, the top comment on the video would hilariously point out that this is one of those clips that you might see played in a Trap Lore Ross documentary, with the responding comment saying that Kiddo hadn't seen the brutal TP killing video because he might have been there. But while Kiddo stayed silent in the interview, he didn't in the booth, dropping a snippet in March 2025 with a line saying, "I got TP in my wood." And by June, Kiddo and Driller had a record together called Last Op, where Driller rapped how TP had made the Bus Stop song and now he's over with. 051 was clearly looking at the death of TP as a huge win, and they were certainly ready to capitalize on the rumors that they were behind the murder to fuel their rap careers. But meanwhile, there had been another scenario happening behind the scenes that, if looked at closely, could provide an alternative answer as to who was really responsible for the murder of TP. THF's notorious reputation in the streets wasn't just limited to shootings and murders. As early as 2012, they had also developed a reputation for robbing people, with one member, THF Trouble, aka Gino, having numerous tweets related to him and the gang robbing their ops, even including a specifically passionate tweet that said, "I love robbing, I was born a snake." And of course, there's also the much more recent example of THF allegedly robbing Mimo 600 of his jewelry. But one of Trouble's old tweets from 2012 would become a grim foreshadowing of events that would occur more than a decade later. As Trouble responded to a THF Rome tweet about going to war with the West Side by saying, "We already robbed a lot of them." Over a decade later, on January the 9th, 2023, Chicago rapper Lil Zay Osama would post a reel on his Instagram previewing his song Glah Glah Part 2, while his caption would send a message, "Nobody took anything from me and these dudes are my homies." Seemingly general post until that same morning when Zay got on his Instagram story and told the real tale. In a lengthy post, he claimed that his watch had been stolen straight out of his hotel room while he slept. While he confronted the suspects about it, they put it on their dead homies that they didn't steal from him. But Zay wasn't buying it, and he sent them a menacing warning saying that nobody is going to stop him from putting the belt on them. He even tagged two of the people he accused of thievery, these guys being known as Kino and La Fadada, both members of THF. Kino would respond right away with a post to his story calling Lil Zay dumb, indirectly dismissing the accusation. Then came another post saying that if he did take the watches, then he would be on Instagram flashing them, but also adding, if Zay wants to do something about it, then so be it, which sounded perhaps a little too defensive for someone claiming innocence. La Fadada, the other culprit, played it much cooler and just responded with a subliminal post to his page with a caption saying, "Believe nothing you hear and some of what you see." And then in 2025, during a No Jumper interview, Zay finally explained how the theft went down, saying that he had taken his watches off to sleep, thinking that he was around friends, but these supposed friends would end up taking the watches while he was unconscious.
I took my watches off, both of them, and put them on the front room table. You feel me? I'll wake up the next morning, bro, like 7 in the morning, bro. Gone, you hear me? Now, I'm thinking back on last night, they came in the room and waked me up. Cause we was buying something from them too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So bro, I get them the money for while I'm kinda like sleep, you know what I'm saying? I get them the money and I fall back to sleep. They merchant on every dead homie in the book that they didn't take it, they didn't got it, they don't know what I'm talking about. I need to check my homies.
While THF certainly had some history of snaking people, even those who were supposed to be close to them, the case of Zay Osama was still different, as his set 6300, aka BSC from the southwest of Chicago, was a block that had no history or issues with THF. And on top of that, Zay was tied to OTF, Lil Durk's label, which had strong connections with THF. That made the situation much trickier, because Zay is a well-respected figure in Chicago, and as he said, nobody was going to stop him from what he was going to do, not even Lil Durk. On September the 6th, 2023, Zay Osama would drop a song called That Time Again, where he made his intentions clear to his own hood, basically implying if they find the THF members in the county jail, they should stomp them for stealing his watches. And even when it seemed like Zay's plans had hit a wall, when he was hit with an indictment all the way in New York for allegedly leaving a gun with a switch in an Uber, just 2 weeks later the city of Chicago was rocked to its core when THF TP was executed right in front of his daughter. The fingers were pointed at 051 as they were the obvious suspects given the history, but THF had other suspects in mind. 1 month later, on March the 12th, 2024, a car on the 6800 block of South State Street was ambushed in broad daylight and 2 men were gunned down.
We do have breaking news to tell you about. Police are investigating a double homicide on the South Side. That's the scene this afternoon in the 6800 block of South State Street. It's near the Dan Ryan. Police say 2 unknown suspects fired at the victims from a car. The victim's car then crashed into a wall. 2 men, aged 30 and 22, died at the University of Chicago hospitals. Police say the shooters drove off in a silver vehicle and are not in custody.
One of the men killed happened to be Man Man from the Bassville set, better known as BVC, who has deep ties with 6300, the very set claimed by Lil Zay Osama. When news broke of Man Man's death, a chilling photo of him laying lifeless in the driver's seat of his car began to circulate, and THF reposted the picture, ruthlessly mocking him, which would be a confusing post to many, as THF and BVC had no known beef at this point. In August, THF Lil Law was still sending shots, dropping his song McNugget, which included a cryptic line that suggested that they had already gotten back for TP, as he mentioned how somebody had already got killed but he can't talk about it. The next month, Chicago videographer TD with the Shot posted a video where he captured THF G-Baby rapping in the studio. In the clip, he rapped how a rapper had gotten his stuff stolen because he thought people were his friends, a seemingly innocent line, but the reaction told a different story. Bashville member BVC Von reposted the clip in anger, accusing G-Baby of lying in his raps, writing that nothing was took, it was stolen, and that now there's blood everywhere, a sign that Lil Zay's missing watches might have gone from a petty situation to a deadly one. By February 2025, Lil Zay Osama was finally released from prison, but his 14-month sentence wasn't nearly enough time to make him forget about his watches. And on June the 13th, 2025, he released a snippet for his song One As I Love, where he would say, man, he from the one, he got that get back for that watch. Blatant admission, seemingly tying his ally, who had recently been killed, as a possible get back to the murder of TP. And just in case you weren't satisfied with that amount of self-snitching, the next day, Lil Zay's brother Big Folks reposted the clip, quoted the line, and added 2 words at the end, FTP. In August, while Zay was on a promo run, he would pull up to do the No Jumper interview where he would address a number of things, but particularly chilling would be his thoughts on using a member of a group to hurt the rest, perhaps hinting that if they couldn't get the actual thieves, they got TP instead as collateral damage.
If smoke you, we know they gonna hurt too. So guess what? We don't give a we smoking you. You get what I'm saying?
It was like a viral video of THFTP. He was walking with his kids, and that went, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, funny as hell, bro. You fried, bro. Leave there, yo. Crazy nigga ain't got no structure, no guidance, bro. You feel what I'm saying? Out here do anything when you with whoever. Then they kill your kid, folk. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be mindful of that when you out here doing it, because ain't no sympathy, ain't no span, nothing, ain't no none of that.
The day after the interview, THF member Rome went on Instagram to taunt Lil Zay, now showing off the very watches that Zay said had gotten stolen from him, while saying that the watches were still in Chicago, and that if Zay wants them, he has to come back from Cali to get them. Then THF Kino, the alleged watch thief himself, after years of denying he'd taken anything, posted a video of the watches, showing that he had indeed possibly taken these watches while Zay slept. Zay would respond with a whole array of expensive watches, 6 figures worth, including a Richard Mille, a Patek Philippe, and Rolex Day anniversary, together with laughing emojis. And then, to wrap up the self-snitching Olympics, Lil Zay would go on live from a poolside and spell it out for the whole world, ominously saying that 2 of his watches got stolen, and in return, 5 lives were taken, and they were going for 5 more.
I stole, about 5 lives got took. Now run and tell that. We trying to go for 10.
Unfortunately, in the grand scheme of things, Tay may not be wrong about the number of casualties that a beef like this can produce in the long run, and while he may have moved to California, putting distance between himself and the streets of Chicago, many of those close to him likely don't have that same luxury. In September 2025, there would be yet another big-time shooting in Chicago, as 6300 affiliate and close friend of Lil Zay Osama, DMG Scoom, was shot dead, eerily just 24 hours after posting an Instagram story renouncing his gang life. Afterwards, THF Rome would make another ominous post on social media, saying how Zay was sacrificing his friends while hiding in California. Unfortunately, in the streets, pride and ego rarely allow peace. Lives have already been lost on both sides, and even though Zay may feel like he proved his point, the scoreboard mentality is hard to overcome long term. This is just the latest in a long line of deadly beefs that have had devastating impacts on THF's members, friends, families, and the wider community. I truly hope that the cycle of gang violence can end eventually, before even more lives are lost and ruined. I hope this video gives you a deeper understanding of not just the tragic events that happened, but also the systemic reasons why they happen. Pray for peace. Thanks for watching.